Welcome to Animal Uncovered. I'm your host, and today we're diving into the extraordinary world of one of nature's most ancient and accomplished aerial predators, dragonflies. Imagine, if you will, a creature that spent its childhood as an underwater assassin, armed with a hydraulic jaw that can shoot out like a missile to capture prey. A creature that transforms from this aquatic monster into a flying machine so sophisticated it can hover, fly backwards, and execute aerial maneuvers that would make a fighter pilot envious. A creature whose ancestors once ruled the skies with wingspans stretching nearly 3 feet across long before the first dinosaur drew breath. This is the dragonfly, and its life story is nothing short of miraculous. Right now, as you listen to this, there are dragonflies completing one of nature's most dramatic transformations. After years of patient hunting beneath the water surface, they're climbing out of ponds and streams, their bodies splitting open like alien cocoons as they emerge as completely different creatures. Within hours, they'll take to the air as some of the most efficient predators on Earth, capable of catching 95% of their prey, a success rate that puts even the most skilled human hunters to shame. But here's what makes their story truly remarkable. This isn't just a tale of transformation. It's a story that stretches back 325 million years to a time when dragonflies were giants and the world was unrecognizable. Today's dragonflies carry within them the genetic memory of that ancient world, and their life cycle reveals secrets about survival, adaptation, and the incredible power of evolution. So settle in, because we're about to explore one of nature's most extraordinary life cycles, from the microscopic beginning in a single egg, through years of underwater predation, to the breathtaking moment of metamorphosis, and finally to their brief but spectacular lives as masters of the air. Part 1. A microscopic beginning. Our story begins with an egg, but not just any egg. Dragonfly eggs are marvels of evolutionary engineering, each one a tiny time capsule containing the blueprint for one of nature's most complex transformations. The journey to this moment has been anything but simple. Adult dragonflies, those magnificent aerial acrobats we see darting over ponds and streams, live for just a few weeks to a few months. Their entire adult existence is focused on one primary goal: reproduction, and the way they achieve this is nothing short of spectacular. When a male dragonfly spots a potential mate, he doesn't simply approach her with flowers or a courtship dance. Instead, he performs aerial acrobatics that would make the Blue Angels jealous. He hovers, darts, and executes impossible mid-air maneuvers, all while his 4 wings beat independently, a feat of coordination that human engineers are still trying to replicate in modern aircraft. If the female is impressed, what happens next is unique in the animal kingdom. The pair forms what scientists call a mating wheel, or heart position. The male grasps the female behind her head, with specialized claspers at the tip of his abdomen, while she curves her body forward to connect with his reproductive organs. Seen from the side, they form a perfect heart shape, nature's most romantic geometry. But here's where it gets fascinating. Before this connection occurs, the male has already prepared for this moment in an extraordinary way. Unlike most animals, male dragonflies have their reproductive organs at the base of their abdomen, but they transfer sperm to a secondary set of organs near their thorax. This means they're essentially loading themselves like a biological weapon before the mating act begins. Once mating is complete, the female faces a crucial decision: where to lay her eggs. This choice will determine the fate of her offspring for the next several years. Different species have evolved remarkably different strategies for this critical moment. Some species, like the common darter, practice what scientists call endophytic oviposition. The female uses a saw-like organ called an ovipositor to cut slits into the stems of aquatic plants, inserting her eggs one by one into these protective chambers. It's precision work. Each egg must be placed at exactly the right depth below the water surface to ensure proper development while remaining hidden from predators. Other species take a more dramatic approach. The southern hawker, for instance, practices exophytic oviposition, essentially dive-bombing the water surface. The female hovers above the water, then darts down to slap the surface with her abdomen, releasing eggs that sink to the bottom. It looks chaotic, but it's actually a carefully calibrated process. The eggs are coated with a sticky substance that helps them adhere to underwater surfaces, and the female can control exactly how many eggs she releases with each strike. Perhaps most remarkably, some species have evolved to lay eggs in the most unlikely places. The wandering glider, a species known for its incredible migration abilities, has been observed laying eggs in temporary puddles, roadside ditches, and even swimming pools. The eggs of these species are incredibly resilient, capable of surviving in conditions that would kill most other aquatic insects. Each egg is a masterpiece of biological engineering. Under a microscope, they appear as translucent spheres, often no larger than a grain of sand. But within that microscopic package lies everything needed to create a creature that will spend years as an underwater predator before transforming into a flying machine. The eggs contain specialized proteins that allow them to survive in extreme conditions. Some species lay eggs that can endure freezing temperatures, while others can survive complete desiccation if their temporary pools dry up. The eggs of certain species enter a state called diapause, essentially biological suspended animation, that allows them to wait out harsh winters or dry seasons. Temperature plays a crucial role in determining when these eggs will hatch. In temperate regions, eggs laid in autumn may remain dormant throughout winter, hatching only when spring temperatures trigger their development. In tropical regions, where temperatures remain more constant, eggs may hatch within days or weeks. The hatching process itself is a marvel of timing and biological precision. As the embryo develops inside the egg, it produces specialized enzymes that begin to dissolve the eggshell from the inside. The tiny creature that emerges looks nothing like the adult dragonfly we know. Instead, it's a strange, alien-looking creature called a nymph, and it's about to begin one of the most remarkable childhoods in the animal kingdom. Part 2. Years of Underwater Predation. The creature that emerges from the egg is, in many ways, more alien than anything science fiction has ever imagined. The dragonfly nymph is a living contradiction, an insect that breathes underwater, a predator that can remain motionless for hours before striking with lightning speed, and a creature that will spend the vast majority of its life in a form completely unlike its final adult stage. When the nymph first hatches, it's barely visible to the naked eye, a translucent spider-like creature with enormous eyes and a secret weapon that makes it one of the most effective predators in freshwater ecosystems. This is the labium, an extendable jaw mechanism that operates like a hydraulic harpoon gun. Picture this. The nymph sits motionless on the muddy bottom of a pond, perfectly camouflaged among the detritus and aquatic plants. Its compound eyes, already remarkably sophisticated, scan the water for movement. A small fish fry, perhaps 2 inches long, swims past, unaware of the predator lurking just feet away. In a motion too fast for the human eye to follow, lasting just 30 milliseconds, the nymph's labium shoots out like a telescoping rod. The extendable jaw can reach up to 1/3 of the nymph's body length, and at its tip are 2 sharp curved hooks called palps. These palps clamp down on the fish with the force of a steel trap, and the entire mechanism retracts, drawing the prey directly into the nymph's waiting mandibles. Dr. Jake Sochan, a biomechanics researcher at Virginia Tech, has studied this feeding mechanism extensively. His high-speed photography reveals that the labium extension creates a pressure wave in the water, helping to stun prey even before the hooks make contact. The strike generates forces up to 40 times the nymph's body weight. Imagine a human throwing a punch with the force of a small car. But the labium is just one of the nymph's remarkable adaptations. Unlike adult dragonflies, which breathe air through spiracles in their exoskeleton, nymphs have evolved a unique respiratory system that allows them to extract oxygen from water. They possess internal gills located in their rectum, structures called branchial gills that extract dissolved oxygen from water as it passes through their body. This system does more than just provide oxygen. The nymph can forcibly expel water from its rectum, creating a kind of jet propulsion system. When threatened, a nymph can shoot water out of its rear end and rocket forward at speeds that would make a squid envious. This jet propulsion can propel the nymph several body lengths in a fraction of a second, allowing it to escape predators or launch surprise attacks on prey. The nymph's compound eyes deserve special attention. Even at this early stage, they contain thousands of individual lenses called ommatidia. Research by Dr. Paloma Gonzalez Bellido at the University of Minnesota has shown that dragonfly nymphs can detect the movement of prey from over 6 inches away. Remarkable for a creature that might be less than an inch long itself. These eyes are particularly sensitive to motion, capable of detecting prey moving at speeds as slow as 0.1 body length per second. This means a nymph can spot a tiny water flea moving at almost imperceptible speeds, then calculate the exact trajectory needed for a successful strike. The nymph stage is where dragonflies spend the overwhelming majority of their lives. While adult dragonflies live for just weeks or months, nymphs may spend anywhere from 1 to 5 years underwater, depending on the species and environmental conditions. Some Arctic species may remain in the nymph stage for up to 7 years, waiting for the brief summer months when conditions are suitable for emergence. During this extended underwater childhood, nymphs undergo a series of molts, shedding their exoskeleton as they grow. Most species molt between 10 and 15 times during their nymph stage, each time revealing a slightly larger, more sophisticated version of themselves. The process is both vulnerable and crucial. During molting, the nymph's new exoskeleton is soft and vulnerable, making it easy prey for fish, birds, and other nymphs. The molting process itself is a marvel of biological engineering. Days before molting, the nymph begins secreting a new exoskeleton underneath its current one. Hormones trigger the absorption of calcium and other minerals from the old exoskeleton, which will be recycled into the new one. When the time comes, the nymph finds a secure location, often clinging to the underside of a rock or log, and begins the delicate process of splitting its old skin. The nymph pushes and wriggles, slowly working its way out of the old exoskeleton, like a person struggling out of a too tight wetsuit. The process can take several hours, and during this time the nymph is essentially helpless. Once free, it must quickly find shelter while its new exoskeleton hardens, a process that can take 12 to 24 hours. Each molt brings changes not just in size but in capability. Wing pads, initially tiny bumps on the nymph's back, grow larger with each molt. The compound eyes become more sophisticated, adding more ommatidia. The labium becomes more powerful and precise. Dr. Rudolf Schiementz's research at the Max Planck Institute has revealed that nymphs actually practice their hunting techniques throughout their development. Young nymphs may make dozens of unsuccessful strikes before developing the precise timing and accuracy that makes them such effective predators. They learn to compensate for light refraction in water, to calculate the speed and trajectory of moving prey, and to distinguish between potential food and debris. The nymph's diet evolves as it grows. Newly hatched nymphs feed primarily on microscopic organisms, water fleas, mosquito larvae, and other tiny invertebrates. As they mature, their diet expands to include larger prey, mayfly nymphs, caddisfly larvae, small fish, and even tadpoles. Larger nymphs are apex predators in their aquatic ecosystem. A mature dragonfly nymph can take down prey nearly as large as itself. They've been observed catching small fish, juvenile frogs, and even other dragonfly nymphs. Their hunting style is opportunistic. They'll eat whatever they can catch, from the smallest water mite to prey nearly their own size. The nymph's role in aquatic ecosystems cannot be overstated. They're what ecologists call a keystone species. Their presence helps maintain the balance of their underwater world. By controlling populations of mosquito larvae, they reduce the number of adult mosquitoes that emerge to plague terrestrial animals. By preying on small fish, they help maintain the delicate balance between fish populations and their food sources. Research conducted by Dr. Shannon Macaulay at the University of Toronto has shown that in some ecosystems, dragonfly nymphs can consume up to 3,000 mosquito larvae per day during peak season. In a single pond, the nymph population might consume millions of mosquito larvae each year, providing natural pest control that benefits the entire ecosystem. As the nymph approaches maturity, subtle changes begin to occur. The wing pads darken and become more prominent. The compound eyes grow larger and more complex. Internally, the nymph's body begins producing the hormones that will trigger its final transformation. This is when the nymph begins one of the most remarkable behaviours in the animal kingdom. It starts monitoring conditions above the water's surface. Using specialised sensors, it can detect changes in light, temperature, and humidity that indicate optimal conditions for emergence. The nymph is preparing for one of nature's most dramatic transformations, the metamorphosis from an aquatic predator into a master of the air. Part 3. From water to air. The moment of emergence is perhaps the most extraordinary chapter in the dragonfly's life story. After years of patient hunting beneath the water's surface, something profound is stirring within the nymph. Chemical signals are cascading through its body, triggered by a combination of photoperiod, temperature, and internal biological clocks that have been ticking for years. The process begins in darkness, often in the pre-dawn hours when the world is still and the water's surface lies mirror smooth. The nymph, now approaching its final molt, begins a journey that will take it from the murky depths to the bright world above. A journey from which there is no return. Dr. Alex Cordoba Aguilar's research at the National Autonomous University of Mexico has revealed that nymphs can actually predict weather conditions above the water's surface. They seem to sense barometric pressure changes, temperature variations, and humidity levels that indicate optimal conditions for emergence. The nymph waits, sometimes for days, until conditions are perfect. When the moment arrives, the nymph begins its ascent. Using its powerful legs, it climbs up the stem of an aquatic plant, grasping each surface with tiny claws that have never known anything but underwater life. The journey to the surface might take hours, as the nymph carefully navigates the underwater forest of plants and debris. The first touch of air is a shock. The nymph's head breaks the surface tension, and for the first time in its life it experiences a world without water. Its sophisticated gills, which have sustained it for years, are now useless. The nymph must complete its transformation quickly, or it will die in this alien environment. Driven by instinct, the nymph continues climbing. It seeks out a vertical surface, a reed, a dock post, a rock face, anything that will provide stability for what's about to happen. The location must be perfect, high enough to avoid predators, stable enough to support the transformation, and positioned to catch the first rays of morning sun. Once the nymph finds its spot, it locks its claws into the surface and begins the most dramatic transformation in the animal kingdom. The process is called ecdysis, and it's nothing short of miraculous. The nymph's exoskeleton, which has been its armour and home for years, begins to split. The crack starts at the back of the head and runs down the thorax, creating an opening that the emerging dragonfly must squeeze through. But what emerges is not simply a larger version of the nymph, it's a completely different creature. The process takes approximately 2 hours and every moment is critical. The emerging dragonfly is initially pale and soft, its wings crumpled and useless. It dangles from its old exoskeleton like a deflating balloon, vulnerable to the slightest breeze or predator. This is the teneral stage, the period when the dragonfly is neither nymph nor fully functional adult. The creature that emerges bears little resemblance to the predator it was moments before. Its head is enormous, dominated by compound eyes that contain up to 30,000 individual lenses. Its thorax is packed with the flight muscles that will power its aerial existence. And its wings, those magnificent wings, are initially folded and colourless like crumpled cellophane. The transformation of the wings is perhaps the most remarkable aspect of emergence. As the dragonfly pumps fluid into its wing veins, the wings expand and unfold. The network of veins that will give the wings their strength and flexibility fills with hemolymph, the insect equivalent of blood. The wings stretch to their full span, revealing intricate patterns of membrane and vein that have been compressed into tiny wing pads for years. Dr. Robin Wootton's research at the University of Exeter has revealed that dragonfly wings are marvels of engineering. The veins aren't just structural supports, they're dynamic elements that can twist and flex during flight. The wing membrane itself is just 2 cells thick in places, yet strong enough to withstand the tremendous forces generated during aerial maneuvers. As the wings expand, they begin to develop their adult coloration. Species like the broad-bodied chaser reveal brilliant blues and purples, while others display intricate patterns of clear and coloured patches. The wings also develop their microscopic surface texture, tiny bumps and ridges that help manage airflow and reduce drag. The hardening process, called sclerotization, is a race against time. The dragonfly's new exoskeleton must harden before predators discover it, and before the day's heat becomes too intense. The process is driven by chemical reactions that cross-link proteins in the exoskeleton, creating a material that's both lightweight and incredibly strong. During this vulnerable period, the dragonfly is essentially helpless. It cannot fly, cannot defend itself, and cannot hunt. It simply clings to its emergence site, waiting for its body to complete its transformation. The old nymph exoskeleton, called an exuvia, remains attached to the emergence site like a ghostly reminder of what the creature once was. The exuvia is a perfect hollow replica of the nymph, complete in every detail except for the split down the back through which the adult emerged. Entomologists treasure these exuvia as they provide perfect records of the species that have emerged from a particular body of water. As the sun rises higher, the dragonfly's transformation accelerates. Its eyes, initially pale and cloudy, begin to develop their adult coloration and full visual acuity. The compound eyes of an adult dragonfly are among the most sophisticated visual systems in the animal kingdom, capable of detecting movement, colour, and polarized light with incredible precision. The body itself undergoes remarkable changes. The nymph's stocky aquatic build transforms into the sleek, aerial form of the adult. The powerful legs that once propelled it through water become delicate landing gear. The hydraulic labium that made it such an effective underwater predator is replaced by conventional mandibles suited for aerial hunting. After approximately 2 hours, the moment of truth arrives. The dragonfly releases its grip on the emergence site and attempts its first flight. This maiden flight is often clumsy and uncertain. The creature that was once a master of underwater navigation must now learn to navigate in 3 dimensions through air. But the learning curve is steep. Within hours, the newly emerged dragonfly will be capable of aerial maneuvers that put human aircraft to shame. It will learn to hover, to fly backwards, to execute sharp turns at high speed, and to catch prey on the wing with 95% accuracy. The emergence process represents one of nature's most complete transformations. The creature that emerges from that split exoskeleton shares almost nothing with its former self except genetic material. It has traded gills for spiracles, jet propulsion for wings, and an underwater existence for mastery of the air. This transformation is made possible by what biologists call holometabolous development, complete metamorphosis. Unlike gradual metamorphosis, where changes occur slowly over many molts, the dragonfly's transformation is concentrated into this single, dramatic event. The process requires complete reorganization of the creature's body plan, involving the dissolution of some tissues and the rapid development of others. The newly emerged dragonfly now faces a completely different world with completely different challenges. It must learn to hunt in 3 dimensions, to navigate using visual landmarks, to find mates, and to survive in an environment where it will live for just a fraction of the time it spent as a nymph. But first, it must take that crucial first flight, the moment when years of underwater existence give way to mastery of the air. Part 4. Masters of the Air. The dragonfly that takes its first tentative flight is entering a world where it will become one of nature's most accomplished aerial predators. But this mastery doesn't come immediately. The first flights are hesitant, uncertain affairs as the creature learns to coordinate 4 wings that can move independently, navigate in 3 dimensions, and hunt prey that moves at incredible speeds. Within hours, however, something remarkable happens. The dragonfly's nervous system, which has been pre-programmed through millions of years of evolution, begins to assert itself. Flight patterns that seem impossible to coordinate become natural. The 4 wings, each capable of independent movement, begin to work in perfect harmony. Dr. Akiko Misutani's research at the University of Zurich has revealed just how extraordinary dragonfly flight really is. Unlike most flying insects, which use their wings primarily for lift and forward motion, dragonflies can control each wing independently. The 4 wings can beat downward while the hind wings beat upward, creating a continuous flow of air over the body that allows for hovering with minimal energy expenditure. This 4-wing system gives dragonflies capabilities that even modern aircraft cannot match. They can hover in place like helicopters, fly backwards like no other insect, and execute sharp turns at speeds that would cause most aircraft to stall. They can accelerate from a standstill to 25 miles per hour in just a few wing beats, and some species can reach top speeds of over 30 miles per hour. The secret lies not just in the wings themselves, but in the extraordinarily sophisticated flight control system that coordinates them. The dragonfly's thorax contains flight muscles that make up nearly 25% of its body weight. These muscles don't just power the wings, they provide the precise control needed for the complex maneuvers that make dragonflies such effective predators. But it's the dragonfly's eyes that truly set it apart as an aerial hunter. Those compound eyes that began developing in the nymph stage reach their full potential in adulthood. Each eye contains up to 30,000 individual lenses, giving the dragonfly nearly 360-degree vision. They can see in all directions simultaneously, detect movement against complex backgrounds, and track multiple targets at once. Dr. Paloma Gonzalez Bellido's research has shown that dragonfly eyes are optimized for motion detection. They can spot a mosquito moving against a background of waving grass from over 40 feet away. The eyes are also sensitive to polarized light, allowing dragonflies to navigate using patterns of polarization in the sky that are invisible to humans. The hunting behavior of adult dragonflies is a masterclass in aerial predation. They don't simply chase their prey, they intercept it. Using their sophisticated visual system, they calculate the prey's speed and trajectory, then plot an intercept course that brings them to the exact point where the prey will be, not where it is. This type of hunting, called pursuit prediction, requires incredible computational power. The dragonfly's brain, smaller than a pinhead, must process visual information from thousands of lenses, calculate 3-dimensional trajectories, and coordinate complex flight maneuvers, all in real time. The success rate speaks for itself. Studies have shown that dragonflies catch approximately 95% of the prey they target. To put this in perspective, lions, often considered the ultimate predators, have a success rate of just 25%. Even great white sharks, apex predators of the ocean, succeed in only about 50% of their attacks. This hunting prowess makes dragonflies incredibly valuable to ecosystems. A single dragonfly can consume hundreds of mosquitoes, flies, and other flying insects in a single day. During peak season, the dragonfly population around a single pond might consume millions of pest insects, providing natural pest control that benefits the entire ecosystem. But dragonflies face their own predators. Birds, spiders, and other dragonflies all pose threats to adult dragonflies. Their response to these threats showcases their incredible flying abilities. When attacked by a bird, dragonflies can execute evasive maneuvers that seem to defy physics. Sharp turns, sudden stops, and spiral dives that leave their pursuers confused and empty-handed. The adult dragonfly's life is intense but brief. After years of patient development as a nymph, they have just weeks or months to find a mate and reproduce. This urgency drives much of their behaviour, particularly their territorial and mating strategies. Male dragonflies are intensely territorial. They establish territories around prime breeding sites, sections of shoreline, patches of open water, or choice perching spots that provide good hunting and mate-finding opportunities. These territories are defended aggressively against other males, leading to spectacular aerial battles that can last for hours. Dr. Ola Finke's research at the University of Oklahoma has documented these territorial disputes in detail. Males engage in aerial combat that resembles dogfights, with complex maneuvers, high-speed chases, and even mid-air collisions. The winner typically holds the territory until he's challenged by another male, or until he becomes too exhausted to maintain his vigil. When a female enters a male's territory, the courtship ritual begins. Different species have evolved different courtship strategies, but all involve impressive displays of aerial acrobatics. Males may perform hovering displays, execute complex flight patterns, or engage in aerial pursuits that showcase their flying abilities. The mating process itself is unique among insects. Once a pair has formed, they engage in the mating wheel position we discussed earlier. But what's remarkable is that mating often occurs while the pair is in flight. The male maintains control of flight while the female curves her body to complete the connection, a feat of coordination that requires perfect timing and control. After mating, the female's priority shifts to egg-laying. But this process is fraught with danger. The female must return to the water to lay her eggs, venturing into territory where she's vulnerable to predators both above and below the water's surface. Some males guard their mates during egg-laying, hovering nearby to ward off other males and predators. This behaviour, called mate guarding, ensures that the male's genetic investment is protected. Other species have evolved different strategies. Some males mate with multiple females, while others focus their efforts on a single partner. The egg-laying process brings the dragonfly full circle. The female, who emerged from the water just weeks or months ago, now returns to deposit the next generation. She may lay hundreds of eggs, each one a potential continuation of the ancient dragonfly lineage. As autumn approaches in temperate regions, the adult dragonflies face their final challenge. Some species migrate, travelling hundreds or even thousands of miles to find suitable overwintering sites. The globe skimmer, for instance, undertakes one of the longest migrations in the insect world, travelling from India to Africa, a journey of over 2,000 miles across the Indian Ocean. Other species simply die with the first frost, their eggs lying dormant until spring triggers the next generation's development. The adult dragonflies complete their brief but spectacular lives, leaving behind the promise of continuation in the eggs they've carefully placed in the water below. The adult stage, though brief, represents the culmination of years of development and the flowering of some of nature's most remarkable adaptations. From the sophisticated flight control systems to the incredible hunting abilities, adult dragonflies embody the perfect integration of form and function that evolution can achieve. Part 5. Death and Legacy. As we reach the end of our journey through the dragonfly's extraordinary life cycle, we must confront a profound truth. The adult dragonfly's spectacular aerial existence is but a brief finale to a life spent primarily in the shadows of underwater worlds. Yet this brief adult stage has consequences that ripple through ecosystems. The death of a dragonfly is rarely a peaceful affair. These aerial predators, so skilled at avoiding capture, eventually succumb to the same forces that shape all life: predation, disease, environmental stress, and the simple passage of time. A bird may finally execute a successful attack, a spider may snare one in its web, or exhaustion may claim a territorial male after one too many aerial battles. But even in death, Dragonflies continue to play crucial ecological roles. Their bodies provide nutrients for decomposers, their eggs ensure the continuation of their species, and their impact on prey populations reverberates through the food web for months to come. The ecological importance of dragonflies cannot be overstated. Dr. Michael Moore's research at the University of Colorado has calculated that in a typical wetland ecosystem, dragonfly nymphs and adults together consume approximately 15% of all flying insects produced by that ecosystem each year. This represents millions of mosquitoes, flies, and other pests that would otherwise emerge to plague other animals. Consider the mathematics of this impact. A single dragonfly nymph might consume 3,000 mosquito larvae during its development. With perhaps 10,000 nymphs in a modest-sized pond, that's 30 million mosquito larvae prevented from reaching adulthood. The adult dragonflies emerging from that same pond might catch another million flying insects during their brief adult lives. This predation pressure shapes the evolution of prey species and helps maintain the delicate balance of freshwater and terrestrial ecosystems. Without dragonflies, many ecosystems would be overwhelmed by pest insects, leading to cascading effects throughout the food web. But dragonflies are more than just effective predators. They're living links to Earth's ancient past. The fossil record reveals that dragonflies have been patrolling Earth's waters and skies for over 325 million years. During the Carboniferous period, when oxygen levels were much higher than today, dragonflies reached sizes that seem almost mythical to modern eyes. Meganeura, the largest known dragonfly, had a wingspan of nearly 2.5 feet, larger than many modern hawks. These giants ruled the skies of the ancient world, preying on early amphibians and other insects in swampy forests that would eventually become coal deposits. The high oxygen levels of the Carboniferous period, up to 35% compared to today's 21%, allowed insects to grow to extraordinary sizes. Dragonflies, with their efficient respiratory systems, were particularly well suited to take advantage of these conditions. They evolved into apex predators of their time, filling ecological niches that would later be occupied by birds and bats. Dr. Robin Kundrata's research at Palacky University has revealed that modern dragonflies retain many of the same basic body plans and hunting strategies as their ancient ancestors. The basic wing structure, the compound eyes, the extendable labium of the nymph, all of these features were present in dragonflies hundreds of millions of years ago. This evolutionary stability speaks to the perfection of the dragonfly's design. Over the course of hundreds of millions of years, through mass extinctions and dramatic environmental changes, the basic dragonfly body plan has remained remarkably consistent. They survived the Permian extinction that killed 90% of all species, the asteroid impact that ended the dinosaurs, and the ice ages that reshaped the planet. Today's dragonflies carry within their genes the accumulated wisdom of this ancient lineage. Every aspect of their life cycle, from the patience of the nymph to the aerial mastery of the adult, has been refined over countless generations. They represent one of evolution's most successful experiments in aquatic to aerial transition. The dragonfly's story also illuminates broader principles of evolution and adaptation. Their complete metamorphosis allows them to exploit two completely different ecological niches during their lifetime. As nymphs, they're apex predators in aquatic ecosystems. As adults, they dominate aerial predation. This dual existence maximizes their impact on prey populations and reduces competition between different life stages. Modern technology continues to draw inspiration from dragonfly innovations. Engineers study their flight mechanics to improve helicopter and drone design. Computer scientists analyze their visual systems to enhance motion detection algorithms. Materials scientists examine their wing structure to develop lighter, stronger composite materials. The dragonfly's legacy extends beyond their ecological and evolutionary significance. They've captured human imagination for millennia, appearing in art, literature, and mythology across cultures. In Japanese culture, they symbolize courage and strength. In Native American traditions, they represent transformation and the connection between worlds. Perhaps most importantly, dragonflies serve as indicators of ecosystem health. Their complex life cycle, requiring both clean water and appropriate terrestrial habitat, makes them sensitive to environmental changes. The presence of diverse dragonfly populations indicates healthy freshwater ecosystems, while their absence often signals environmental degradation. As we face global challenges like climate change, habitat loss and pollution, dragonflies remind us of the intricate connections that bind ecosystems together. Their life cycle, spanning years and multiple environments, illustrates how changes in one habitat can ripple through entire food webs. The next time you encounter a dragonfly, whether it's the shimmer of wings above a summer pond or the discarded exoskeleton clinging to a reed, you'll know that you're witnessing one of nature's most remarkable success stories. This has been Animal Uncovered. I'm your host, and I hope you'll join me next time as we explore another extraordinary life cycle from the natural world. Until then, keep looking up and down and all around, because the most amazing stories are often happening right in front of us, waiting to be discovered.